Alright, what is going on, guys? I'm back again, me, Sergio Rules. Um, and today I have a little different thing. Normally I'd be doing like live battles or something on Showdown. I'm actually starting a new project soon. That video should be going up within the next week, hopefully, um, once I get it edited and everything. Um, but right now, there's a little tournament called the PU not open is what it's so the way it works is normally there's like a bunch of Smogon tournaments that go on like once the metas are made and everything. But because PU got so delayed, there's not actually an official PU Open tournament. Like there's an OU Open and an NU Open and RU and a UU, and obviously, and there's also an LC Open. But PU, even though we're an official tier, we got left out of that equation because a lot of usage stats got so delayed. But anyway, so we made an unofficial tournament, and by we I mean the people in the PU room, the staff and everything. And basically it's the same basic premise. You enter, you play a best of three, and then that's pretty much it. Whoever wins wins. So my first opponent for week one was EnemyJurist. I know he's pretty big into PU, and the only problem when I knew I was facing him, I knew that he hadn't really I hadn't really seen him in the PU room all that often, so I wasn't sure how well he knew the Sun and Moon meta. But he actually I really liked our games. I think our games were really good. Um, and that I don't really know what else to say. So I'm just gonna get into them. Um, I'll save who won for the end, but we'll just I'm assuming if I'm making this video, you can assume who won, but I don't want to. You can figure it out. Okay, so I lead Caracosta, he leads Golem. Um, Basically, I figured we would just trade rocks here. I am a defensive Caracosta, so I have like Stealth Rock Scald. So I actually thought he would be afraid of like the water type move here, whether it was Scald or like Waterfall if I was a physical variant, if like a Shell Smash variant. Um, but he ends up just staying in and Earthquaking turn one, and I get up my rocks. Pretty free rocks that I was assuming, because his hazard control is Skuntank, and my team doesn't really have that many problems with Skuntank, especially because I have Wheezing. I can just go right into Wheezing when he brings out a Skuntank and burn it. Um, but yeah, I got up my rocks, and now I figured he was fearing the Scald, or like, because Stealth Rock Caracosta is normally defensive. You can run offensive Caracosta with rocks, but I think it would have beat Golem, like speed-wise. I'm not sure. I don't remember how much speed the offensive rocks runs. But so he switches out, fearing the Scald, and I just knock off because I knew he would switch out. So we knock off that Girder's Eviolite, which will come in handy later, as it won't be as bulky, and we can wear it down a lot easier now that that's off. So I had a feeling he was either going to go for the fighting move or knock off here, because that's pretty much what Girder runs. And I have a Silvally Fairy in the back, which is a really good switch into general fighting types with knockoff. So I switch out, and that obviously happens. His knockoff does 10, even though I'm running a very offensive Silvally. So he goes into his Skuntank, and I just fired off a parting shot so I could get my Raichu in. And I actually did, you can see what just happened there, but I did some calcs during this turn, like making sure, like if he Sucker Punched here, then I lost my Raichu, and I probably would have lost the game. because I don't really have any other way of beating Skuntank other than like having it burned and just wearing it down. But even then, I was thinking he was the Heal Bell Grand Bull, so if I burned it, he could have easily just went into that and healed it back up, so it could live longer. But I calced here, and I'm running a low Raichium Z Raichu here, so it has that Stoke Spark Surfer, and Stoke Spark Surfer I think is a guaranteed KO on Skuntank unless it's like max special defense. So I figured since he's at -1, he's probably not going to go for the Sucker Punch. He probably thinks that he can take just a Thunderbolt or whatever, and he could take a regular Thunderbolt, I'm pretty sure. So I was thinking he's just going to stay in, take the Thunderbolt, and get the rocks up so that Scyther can come in and revenge kill me if it's a Scarf Scyther or whatever. But I do use that Z move, and Skuntank is gone. One of the biggest threats to my team, considering I don't have that much for it unless I actually, I guess Girder can beat it if it gets enough bulk up boosts. But biggest threat to my team, gone right there. Turn 5, and then he does bring out the Scyther, and he actually pursuits me. I was figuring if he was Scarf, he would have U-turned or something. But I think that is Banded. I think Banded runs Pursuit, I'm not quite sure. And so I send out my Caracosta after Raichu dies. I know, once again, I know he's not going to stay in here, so I go to Caracosta. I very much predict the Girder to come out because he's going to want to absorb that Scald, and if I burn him, that gives him the Guts boost. So I just immediately go into Silvally Fairy because I know that thing is coming out, and that's where the Eviolite knockoff comes in, is Silvally's Fairy multi-attack did 70% to this Girder, and with Eviolite, oh gosh, I'm so bad at math, but I think it would have done, it would have done 2/3 of that bit damage, basically. So it still would have been a 2-hit KO, but much less, like, he would have been at a lot higher HP, and if he had Drain Punched me there, he probably would have lived it. But luckily we got rid of that Eviolite. So he just knocks off here, expecting me to switch, and I don't, and then he just Mach Punches to get some more damage off, and I Flamethrower to pick him off. And then he sends out his Golem, and I don't really want to take like an Earthquake or Stone Edge from this thing, so I just Parting Shot out, and I go into my Weezing, because Weezing hard walls this. I can burn it with Will-O-Wisp. I don't really fear an Earthquake or a Stone Edge, because I'm very physically defensive on this Weezing. But he just sets up his rocks. Not too big of an issue, because nothing on my team is really weak to rocks. That's why I don't have Hazard Control on this team. But then he goes into his Scyther, finally takes his, like, he's at 1 HP right now. And I set up a Toxic Spike because I want to pressure that Grand Bull that'll come in later. And he Aerial Aces me, I just Sludge Bomb to pick him off. And then out comes Jinx, and this, I was really scared of this Jinx because I realized at this point that maybe he's not Z Heal Bell Grand Bull, maybe he's Z Move Jinx, and I really didn't want to be put to sleep, especially because my Weezing is the best way of beating his Grand Bull, and also Weezing beats these two last Mons, so I really did not want to sack it here, so I go straight into my Caracosta because I knew he was either going to Z-move here or, like, either Z Lovely Kiss is what I was assuming, or, like, fire up a Psychic. And I don't really need my Caracosta anymore because Weezing beats these last two Mons, and, Caracosta, like, his rocks are already up. Everything's going to be taking chip damage from rocks. So I let him take that Ice Beam really well. And now this part, I was like, okay, now he's going to Z Lovely Kiss so he can get that speed boost, and then he's going to try and outspeed everything here. And I figured I might save Caracosta for later so I could sack it to, like, Golem's Earthquake or whatever, and get something else in. So I go Silvally Fairy because it's really pretty much useless. Yeah, it speed ties with Jinx, but I didn't really want to risk a speed tie at this point. So he actually reveals that he is Fightinium Z. So he's Z Focus Blast, but it is not able to pick me off because I am a Fairy type. So I go back out into Caracosta and just sack it. And then I bring out my Absol, and there's no way he was staying in there. I knew he was not staying in there. So I actually double out into Weezing because I knew he was going to go into one of these things. He wouldn't sack his Jinx right there because it can still kill Girder, even though I think Girder actually picks it off with a Mach Punch beforehand. But his Jinx is his only really like super offensive Mon left. And then he brings out Golem, gets a crit on the Stone Edge, which kind of sucked, but I am able to get up my second layer of Toxic Spikes, which will be really helpful in wearing that Grand Bull down. And then I just bring in my Silvally Fairy and sack it, because I don't really need it anymore. And out comes Girder, and he just Earthquakes, and I knock off to get rid of his leftovers, get rid of that passive recovery he's getting. Now he goes Jinx, and I just Drain Punched because I figured even if he went Grand Bull, I would get back some kind of recovery. And now he does go Grand Bull, and I believe, I forget this calc, but I think if he was like defensive Grand Bull, that I actually lived to play rough here, and I could fire back at least with my knockoff and get rid of his leftovers or whatever. But it turns out that he's actually banded. He's max speed banded Grand Bull. So I was a little worried here because my Absol obviously can't do anything to it. I'm running Play Rough over like Iron Tail because this was still in the meta where Hariyama just got banned, but Hariyama was still usable in these games. So I ran Play Rough because Hariyama's Bullet Punch couldn't really do much to Absol. I mean, it did a pretty big chunk, but it wasn't enough. But anyway, besides that, so I find out he is banded, he's not running leftovers. My Weezing is fast enough to speed creep Grand Bull, max speed Grand Bull, and then we just pick him off with the Sludge Bomb. It doesn't kill him, but he does die to Toxic, and he also kills us with his Play Rough, which is really nice. And then his Golem right here comes out, and I know he's not going to try and stall out my Sucker Punches. I basically win here because he can't, even if he stalls out my Sucker Punches by going for Stealth Rock, I still win. And his Sucker Punches aren't going to be doing anything to me because I am a Dark type. So I just I think I just Sucker Punch, and yeah, he tries to attack me, but obviously I move first, and that's the game. So that's game one. It is a best of 3. So we did have another game. And this team, oh, I forgot to talk about this team. I made this core a while back because I really liked Girder plus Pursuit Trapper to get rid of like things like Masharna, what other, just like bulky Psychic types that Girder can't really do much against, and Psychic and Ghost types. So Absol helps remedy that, and then Silvally Fairy is like a nice fighting check for this core because it's kind of hard to check faster fighting types like Hitmonchan. But anyway, so that game's over. Yeah, we won game 1. This one, I was kind of, because I brought a really offensive team game 1, I thought he might try to bring something that could potentially beat that. So I actually bring this, it's a semi-stall team, and it's actually by a Rumoth in PU. He passed it to me a while ago, and I was going to make a video on it, but I decided I was going to save it for the PU not open because it's a really, really good team. But now Hariyama is banned, and this team's basically useless because nothing does exactly what Hariyama is. It's a fighting type that's also an ice check and a fire check, and just like a generally bulky Pokemon. If you have like the AV thick fat set, the gut set is broken, but and that's why they eventually did ban it. But so this team, the reason it's like a semi-stall team, and the reason he gave it to me, and the reason it's so good is because everything on this team like handles everything else in the meta. If there's something that's coming in, you always have an answer to it. Like Barbaracle just got banned, but Gastrodon counters Barbaracle unless it's running Z Grass Knot. And then Hariyama, like I said, it's just a general fire and ice check. Oricorio is really good at like fast taunting and fast toxicking, so it hurts those faster threats a lot more. And then Bronzor is just a stupid Pokemon. Like it's good, but it's very like it's weird how well it works. Like you would think an LC Pokemon in PU wouldn't be that great, but it checks so much stuff because it has that Steel Psychic typing and Levitate, and it like the only thing on his team that can actually break Bronzor is like if he was Guts Hariyama, but I actually think he's AV. But if he was Guts Hariyama with knockoff, or this Toxic Boost Zangoose with knockoff, but nothing else really beats Bronzor. And then we have our Skuntank for hazard control. It also helps get rid of toxic spikes if people bring it. And then we have a defensive Z Heal Bell Granbull, and that helps a lot with the fighting types like Hariyama, Hitmonchan, that kind of stuff. But enough about the team. We're going to lead off with Hariyama, and he is actually Silvally Ghost. So immediately I know that my Skuntank is going to beat this thing. They don't really run coverage to beat Skuntank, except for, like, they can Parting Shot out, but they can't really do anything offensively to a Skuntank, unless they burn it with Flamethrower or something. But so turn 1 I lead off with my Hariyama because it just handles his team really well. The only thing, I had a bad lead matchup was Swanna. So he just Parting Shots out and goes directly into Swanna, and I knock off, get a crit, which kind of sucks, was really unfortunate, but I don't knock off his item, so I immediately know he's running Z, like Flying EMZ, Z Hurricane. So I go out into my Oricorio. This is a max speed, max HP Oricorio, so it doesn't deal a lot of damage, but it's fast and it's bulky. So I knew I was going to force him out here, but I just stayed in Toxic. I kind of figured his special wall would be Miltank, so I wanted to wear that down really quickly, because this, like, my Hariyama can handle it, but if I go Hariyama, he just goes Silvally Ghost and checks it. So I taunt, so he can't get up at Stealth Rock, he can't heal, also he can't use Milk Drink or whatever, and then I just go Bronzor because he can't do anything up against it. Go Silvally, I go Skuntank, and this is where, wait, oh no, this is the wrong part of the game. So he just Parting Shots out, because he knew I wasn't going to stay in and try and take a Shadow Ball from this. So he goes Hariyama, and I go straight into Granbull, because we do check that. Even though he is a Heavy Slam, that does less than half, but I switch out into Gastrodon because Heavy Slam, Gastrodon actually checks Heavy Slam Hariyama better. And he goes for knockoff, so we lose our leftovers, and I go for Toxic. I know he's not Guts. Guts doesn't normally run, I don't think at this point, Guts didn't run knockoff and Heavy Slam at the same time. Yeah, I think the standard Guts set was, it was Fake Out, Bullet Punch, or no, it wasn't Fake Out, it was Bullet Punch, Facade, Close Combat, and then knockoff. So because he's heavy slam and knockoff, I knew he was probably AV. Also because he obviously didn't have a flame orb activate here. So I do just fire off a toxic and poison that thing, and then I recover just to get back up to full since we did lose our leftovers. Go to Bronzor, he gets his rocks up, and then I'm going to get mine up. Don't really want to take a knockoff from this thing, so I go straight into Gastrodon since we are already knocked off, and we take that really well. And then he goes Silvally Ghost. I recover. He parting shots out. I think I fired off a toxic here. Yeah, I used toxic again, and it missed, but his Miltank was already toxic, so it doesn't really matter. He milk drinks, and I earth power just to get some little chip damage. Try and wear him down with toxic a little more. Go to Bronzor because, like I said, Miltank can't really touch this thing, even if he gets a paralyze, whatever. If he gets the paralysis with a body slam, I have rest, so it doesn't really affect me much. I Psywave just again for more chip damage. He goes for Shadow Ball. Like I said, he can't really touch Skuntank. And then he Thunderbolts, so he's not actually running Flamethrower, so Bronzor actually would have been pretty safe. Or not Bronzor. Skuntank is pretty safe because he can't burn us. He could paralyze us, but it doesn't really do much. So I'd go for the regular Pursuit here, thinking he might switch out, and if he switched out there, this thing was dead. Obviously, because Pursuit does double damage if your opponent switches out. So because I pursued there, he thought that I wasn't going to go for Pursuit again, thinking I don't want to take this damage, but I know I can live another Thunderbolt, and I don't really need this for anything else, so he parting shots, and I go for Pursuit again, and pick off that Silvally, and then he goes Zangoose, and just facades me. He's not poisoned at this point, so his facade doesn't do that much. And I do end up living it, and I just fire off a poison jab, get him damaged so that Sucker Punch can come and pick him off. And at this point, yeah, he forfeit at this point because he doesn't have any ways to break Gastrodon. That was my round one matches for the PU not open, and like EnemyJurist is a really good player. I'm pretty sure it was an upset that he lost, not a huge upset, but I know a lot of people did think that he would win. I even thought he would win because I know he's a good player, or at least he wasn't Oras, but I mean I wasn't gonna not try because I thought he would win. I still tried my best, and I did end up winning. And yeah, I mean, his team. The thing about this team is, like I said, it's really hard to break through. You have an answer to everything. It's not stall because you do have a couple offensive mons, like pretty much this Hariyama, Skuntank, Oricorio. They're all pretty offensive mons, but like because of their sets, because this is used as an ice check, this is used as hazard control, this is max HP Oricorio instead of max special attack. Because of all that, it actually does. It's a really good team. But like I said, now that Hariyama is banned, nothing can really fill its spot. And I've been working with the guy who made this team to see if we can try and fill the spot, and there's just nothing that does it quite like Hariyama does. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, that was round one. We did win. Round two starts today, the video, I think I'm gonna post this video on Saturday. Or not, okay, round 2 doesn't begin today, but round 1 ends today. I'll definitely be posting my matches. I tried to live commentate this one, but my mic wasn't recording or something, so I wasn't able to. So I'm doing this post commentary. Expect the rest of these to be live commentated, just because I feel like that's better. For me, it gives me a little more time to think through my stuff, and when I talk through my stuff when I'm recording, like even though my mic wasn't recording those games, I still like pretended that I was recording so I could talk myself through every situation, and I feel that's really good for me, for becoming a better player and getting that, like, talking through these things like helps me think more competitively. So definitely expect my other videos to be live commentated. This one would have been if my mic hadn't I don't even know what happened. But yeah, so we are in round 2. We made it. Let's go. So wish me luck in the rest of the games, and hopefully I will see you all later in the next video in round 2, because we made it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that juicy stuff. And I will see you all in the next one.